So hi, my name is Gaurav. First of all, we will be covering Docker technologies or DevOps. For learning Docker, we will be having different sessions, right? So Docker basically it is a containerization technology. Now, like what is container? So container is basically an OS. So don't worry about that. So now I'm showing you some concepts of Docker that we will be covering. So let me show you this. So first is like use of Docker, right? What is Docker? After that we will be using what is Docker pulling, Docker images, Docker running, how to run an image, how to create a container. So all this will be covering in this. After that, what is Docker Hub? This is the major concept in the Docker, right? After getting knowledge of all these, we will be creating our own image, right? After creating the Docker images, how to go inside the container, how to create the container using the Docker image. So don't worry about that. Right now you are thinking like it is confusing, what is Docker image, Docker running, Docker pulling, Docker container. So don't worry about that, we will be learning that. After that, we will be creating our own LAN system, and in that we will be creating the containers. After that, we will be going through the networking part, that is DSCP, IPAM, what is SDN, right? After that, we will be creating a container in such a way that we get no connectivity, right? No connectivity means like we cannot access our internet services, right? After that, we will be using load balancer. So don't worry about that, like what is load balancer. We will be doing this from scratch. We will be creating different containers and binding all the containers to a load balancer. So like any request comes to the load balancer, it serves to the different containers. So we will be using that also. So these are also the parts of networking, like what is SNet, net versus PAT, switch versus router, DNet, DNS. So all these are the parts of networking, but we will be using this in a Docker. So we will be using Docker from very basic, right? After like all the types of host, when we create a container we get different host. So what are the host, how okay, so basically in real world Docker is not an independent, right? Like basically Docker is used on the top of Kubernetes and OpenShift. Now what is Kubernetes, what is OpenShift, why I've written Kubernetes with like K8s. So we will be covering what is Kubernetes, what is OpenShift, how these both are integrated with Docker, right? Right. So don't worry about that, we will be covering this part from very basic. After that, when we create a container in 1 second, so a container is getting created in 1 second, right? But it is deleting also in 1 second. So how to permanently store our data? So we will be using different types of storage like Imperial versus persistent, and there are so many others also, right? After that, we will be creating a container in such a way that it works like a pen drive, right? We will create two containers. One will be having the operating system like Windows, Ubuntu or anything, and the other one will be using as a pen drive. So we will be attaching that pen drive to our container, that is the operating system one, and how to move data between them. So we will be using this also. After that, what is Docker file? Currently we are knowing that what is Docker images, Docker running, Docker hub, Docker images. What is Docker file? So don't worry about that, we will be using this from zero level. So this is the main concept also for the Docker. After doing all these concepts of Docker, right, we will be creating a major project using Docker that is used in the real world industry, right? So these are not the only concept that we are using in Docker, there are a lot of concepts also, so we will be covering that also, right? So it's just a basic info about Docker, there is a much more. So when we will start this course, we will be getting all these concept one by one, right? So yeah, thank you, bye bye.